Los Angeles, 1972. A mysterious Aikido instructor named Seagal claims he's teaching secret techniques to Hollywood stars. He's 21, runs a dojo in Orange County, tells everyone he trained in Japan. He hears about Bruce Lee, wants to meet him. Steven tells people, "I could teach Bruce Lee real martial arts. Aikido is superior to Kung Fu." This claim reaches Bruce. Bruce is furious. Who's this guy? Bring him here. What happens when they meet becomes one of martial arts' most controversial stories, and one Steven Seagal will spend 40 years lying about. This is 1972. Steven Seagal is 21. Unknown Aikido instructor making bold claims. By 1988, he'll become action movie star with Above the Law. Then Under Siege in 1992, one of biggest action stars of the 1990s. But in 1972, he's nobody, just an arrogant instructor with a big mouth. Bruce Lee is 32, international superstar, at his peak. When Bruce hears Steven's claims that Aikido is superior and he could teach Bruce demands to meet him. What happens shocks everyone present and creates a story Steven will deny for decades, while witnesses tell a completely different version. This is the documented true story. Steven Seagal is 21 in 1972, born in Michigan, claims he moved to Japan at 17, studied Aikido, became first foreigner to run a dojo there. These claims are disputed. Evidence suggests he exaggerated his credentials. Steven is charismatic, confident, good at self-promotion. Opens a dojo in Orange County. Teaches Aikido to small groups. Tells everyone he's a master with secret techniques. Steven watches Bruce Lee's movies. Studies the fame Bruce receives. He tells students, Bruce Lee's Kung Fu is limited, just punching and kicking. Aikido is superior, uses opponent's energy, joint locks, throws. If I met Bruce Lee, I could teach him real martial arts. These claims spread. Eventually reach Bruce Lee's students. Dan Inosanto tells Bruce, "There's an Aikido instructor claiming Aikido is superior to JKD, saying he could teach you." Bruce is angry. "Who is this guy? Bring him to my school." Dan contacts Steven. "Bruce Lee wants to meet you." Steven, confident, "Good, I'll show him what real Aikido can do." Steven arrives at Bruce's school. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, much bigger than Bruce. Brings 2 students as witnesses. Bruce is there with Dan Inosanto, Ted Wong, several students. Bruce is 5'7", 135 pounds, looks tiny compared to Steven. Size difference is dramatic. Bruce speaks first. "I hear you've been saying Aikido is superior to what I do. That you could teach me. Is that true?" Steven, confident, "Aikido is a complete martial art. Uses opponent's energy, joint manipulations, throws. Your Kung Fu is effective for movies, but in real combat, Aikido's principles are more sophisticated." Bruce's eyes narrow. "You think so? Have you ever fought full contact? Been in a real street fight?" Steven, defensive. "Aikido is tested. Used by Japanese police." Bruce cuts him off. "Have you ever been in a real fight?" Steven hesitates. "I've trained with masters in Japan. That's not an answer. Show me this superior Aikido. Try to apply it on me." Steven wasn't expecting this. "You want me to demonstrate on you?" "Yes, show me these joint locks. I'll resist like a real opponent would. Let's see if your Aikido works." They move to mat. Bruce's students form a circle. Steven attempts Aikido technique, tries to grab Bruce's wrist for a wrist lock. Bruce doesn't let him complete the grip. Pulls hand away, uses Wing Chun sensitivity, evades before the lock applies. Steven tries again, faster. Bruce evades again, counters with a light slap to Steven's face, showing he could hit Steven before the lock completes. Steven, frustrated, "You're not giving me your wrist properly." In Aikido, the attacker commits. Bruce interrupts. In a real fight, no one gives you their wrist. They resist. Show me Aikido works against resistance. Stephen tries different approach attempts to grab Bruce's shoulder for a throw. Bruce's stance is too low, too mobile. Stephen can't establish control. Bruce demonstrates, throws rapid chain punches. Stephen tries to deflect using Aikido movements, but Bruce's speed overwhelms the technique. Several punches tap Stephen's face and body. Stephen backs up, uncomfortable. Bruce, now try your throws. Stephen attempts hip throw. Bruce understands the leverage, simply drops his weight, spreads his base. Stephen can't lift him. Bruce explains to students. See, Aikido throws work on people who don't understand leverage. But against someone who knows grappling principles, you need more than technique. Stephen's face is red. Bruce tries Aikido position on Stephen. Same throw Stephen attempted. Bruce executes it perfectly. Stephen flies through the air, lands hard. Bruce's students are shocked. Their teacher just did Aikido better than the Aikido master. They stop. Stephen is humiliated. Bruce, direct but not cruel. Stephen, Aikido is legitimate. But it has limitations like every martial art. Claiming it's superior, especially when you've never tested it in real combat, is arrogant. Your joint locks work on compliant partners. Against a resisting opponent, they're much harder to apply. Your throws require specific setups. I'm not saying Aikido is useless. I'm saying it's incomplete, like karate, like kung fu, like everything by itself. That's why I created Jeet Kune Do. Take what works, discard what doesn't. Stephen, defensive. In Japan, my teachers. Bruce cuts him off. I don't care about cooperative training partners. I care about reality. You came claiming you could teach me. You can't even apply your techniques when I resist minimally. Stephen has no answer. Bruce, you're young. You have time to learn. But stop making claims you can't back up. Train honestly. Test techniques against resistance. Be humble. Stephen and his students leave humiliated, angry. After Stephen leaves, Bruce tells students, "This is why we spar, why we test techniques realistically. Too many martial artists train in fantasy cooperative partners, no resistance. Then make claims they can't prove." 1 year later, Bruce dies. Stephen's career begins mid-1980s, becomes action star with Above the Law, 1988. Hard to Kill, 1990. Under Siege, 1992. In interviews throughout 1980s, 1990s, Stephen tells a different story. Claims he taught Bruce Lee, that they were friends. These claims are documented in multiple interviews, but witnesses tell the truth. Dan Inosanto later, Stephen came to Bruce's school once in 1972. Bruce was not impressed. Bruce showed Stephen Aikido's joint locks don't work against non-cooperative opponents. Stephen was embarrassed and left. They were never friends. Bruce never learned from Stephen. The opposite happened. Ted Wong, I was there. Bruce basically destroyed Stephen's claims in 10 minutes. Stephen was humiliated. After Bruce died, Stephen started lying, claiming they were friends and he taught Bruce. Completely false. For decades, Stephen's claims go unchallenged publicly. He's a movie star. Has platform. But martial arts community knows the truth. Witnesses occasionally mention what really happened. Jean LaBelle, legendary judoka who worked with both, publicly contradicts Stephen. Stephen never taught Bruce anything. That's made up. Bruce showed Stephen his Aikido didn't work against resistance. Stephen's been lying for years. Numerous martial artists call out Stephen's claims. But Stephen continues telling the story, changing details but always claiming he taught Bruce the truth. One meeting in 1972, Stephen was humiliated. Bruce was patient but direct. They never trained together again. No friendship. No teaching relationship. After Bruce's death, Stephen couldn't be contradicted, so the lies grew. Los Angeles, 1972, a 21-year-old. Aikido instructor claimed he could teach Bruce Lee. Bruce demanded to meet him. In 10 minutes, Bruce showed Aikido's joint locks don't work against real resistance. Stephen left humiliated. Bruce died 1 year later. Stephen spent 40 years lying, claiming he taught Bruce. Witnesses tell the truth. Bruce taught Stephen a lesson in humility that Stephen never learned. This is the real story.